how are you? My name's Beta, and today I want to talk about how a furry convention supposedly ruins someone's date. I know, not really a surprising thing. Furries, doing their own thing, existing in a convention space, how dare them? How dare they have their own event that they enjoy and mind their own business with?
Obviously within reason, so as not to ruin anyone else's time that might be in the area.
However, that was not enough, and a date that was passing by, or at least one of the individuals on the date, was not happy about the furries being there. And so he left a 1-star review on the hotel associated with the con on TripAdvisor, and it doesn't just end there either. What makes this potentially special is the follow-up review, who supposedly was having a bad evening with this guy on the date, and the furries saved her evening. Even if this review in general is fake, the actual experience didn't happen, this seems like something that very well could happen. So I want to go over these reviews today, give my thoughts and opinions on some of the comments made, and also just come to the conclusion of whether or not this is fake. So the first review comes from our wonderful protagonist known as Thomas, who left a 1-star review on the hotel that the furry convention was at on TripAdvisor with the subject line, "Repulsed by furries." This ought to be good. Not happy. I had a lovely night out with a date, and we decided to have a walk around the lake. The hole outside at 20 o'clock to 23 o'clock. I don't use that time system. The hole outside at 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. was like a bag of Skittles that have already gone moldy and furry. I actually kind of like that comment here, a bag of Skittles, because that really is what happens when you look at a group of furries or fursuiters. It's just all sorts of different colors for different suits and characters. It's a very interesting description to start things off. All barking, leaping, and chasing like children. This convention of their own leaked all the way out to the Hilton Hotel, where reports of disturbances have been noted before. Okay, so just a little note. With furry conventions, you have like the convention space that the con will be held at. But a lot of times you have like main hotels or hotel spaces that help accommodate for the con happening itself. And especially knowing Confuzzled is the biggest UK furry convention currently, there's going to be a lot of furries going to these events. And when the convention usually closes down for the evening, a lot of furries will just migrate to the main hotel, where there's social spaces, there's areas for furries to exist, maybe to party in people's rooms, so that's where a lot of the furries will hang out. Pretty simple and straightforward, so it's not profound to see that furries will exist in a hotel space that's associated with the con, so yeah. And it's even listed on the Confuzzled website that the Hilton Birmingham Metropole is the main hotel. So, not really a profound concept, so we know that. Maybe Thomas here doesn't. Creepy as, pitch black, and they're dressed as furries. Oh no, so horrifying.
But to be fair, a random fursuiter out in the middle of the pitch black, just standing there menacingly.
It's kind of terrifying. I'm even a furry, and I see that. Regardless, let's keep reading. The thing is, Resorts World has a dress code, and I've been told off for tracksuit bottoms before, but they'll allow the Paw Patrol to turn up on their doorstep. Okay, I just want to say, some of these comments are really fucking funny. If they didn't have the connotations of being so repulsed and hating of furries, like some of these comments are pretty funny. Like imagine someone just nonchalantly saying, uh-oh, the Paw Patrol's showing up. Like just not even supposed to be like negative or hateful.
But just like, that's just a funny comment.
Like a furry bag of Skittles, the Paw Patrol. Some of these are funny. This guy has a little bit of a sense of humor. There's someone serving in the Nando's with a tail and everything. Like, why do I have to accept these people? They're still children. A Michael Jackson remake that can't become self-confident adults, and they prey on childish fantasies. Absolutely repulsed. Well, this guy sounds like an absolute ray of sunshine. Now, the last portion is a lot of assumptions about furries just based on, you seeing people having a good time. I mean, that's what it comes down to. People are having fun, and it's just like,
oh, how dare them have fun. They can't grow up and be self-confident adults.
Like, half this review has nothing to do with the actual hotel, but more of the folks in the space.
Which, yeah, I understand why you can potentially leave that as a review.
But it doesn't really set a good precedent about the hotel, or how it could have done better, by, like, kicking out the furries who have their own event going on. It's just weird to me. It's very, very weird. I'm sorry, but the last part of it kind of sounds like they're coping a bit. Like, they seem so pissed off about furries just existing in their own space that it ruined their evening. Like, they even say they had a lovely night out with their date, and then furries.
Like, why do I have to accept these people?
You don't. You don't have to. You can go elsewhere. Like, it's not that hard. Like, I don't know what the area is like around the Hilton or the lake here, but I'm assuming there are other areas you can walk, right? I don't think furries are so spread out amongst the lake that they're taking it over. Like, it seems like from the review, furries were doing these absolutely abhorrent things that this dude's evening was ruined from it. When the way he's describing it is they're just existing and doing what furries do in their own space. I don't know, this review seems a lot more critical about the furries than like an actual review about the hotel or their experience. Imagine being this upset about furries doing their thing. I can understand it can be weird and you might not want to be in the presence of it. You might be creeped out by fursuits or something. But at the same time, you gotta understand, people are having their own fun, they're enjoying their own thing, and there's nothing wrong with it. You don't have to look at it or participate in it. And what's funny about this is no different than any other hate comment you'd see on the internet about furries coming from like 12 to 15-year-olds.
Not even joking. So, like, fully grown adults going on a date, looking down on furries.
Pretty funny. I love seeing the comments like these because usually they make no sense. It sounds like a cope, or it seems like they're upset about something that has a very reasonable solution. Just go elsewhere, or go on the date another time. It seems like they're repulsed by furries existing in general. So that's the review. Someone who had a bad time. They were originally having a good date, turned bad because of furries. Their evening was ruined because furries exist. But the story doesn't end here. There was a follow-up review, or a reply to the review left initially from supposedly the other date. So this next review comes from Audrey, who left a 5-star review with the subject, terrible date, but enjoyed the furries. So let's give this a read. Very happy. I'd been out on a date, but unfortunately the guy had a huge stick up his backside, which ruined my night.
Okay, I mean, we got some context as to how other folks were feeling about Thomas in this instance, so
that's good. Fortunately, as we headed out between 20 and 23, my evening was redeemed as we were met by a sea of colorful and friendly creatures in their furry costumes. Alright, so this lines up with the initial review. Same time, same situation, met by a sea of furries, or Skittles in furry costumes. I don't look. That's just what he said initially. So she was having a bad night, but it was redeemed by the furries. Let's see where this leads. My date seemed a bit creeped out by them, but that seems like a him problem, as I was enchanted by their barks and bounding. It was so lovely to see grown adults still enjoying themselves with childlike vigor. Okay, so she's happy that other people are happy enjoying themselves. That is great. And also I love the comment here. That seems like a him problem. My date turned up in tracksuit bottoms, and he smelt of damp and Super Kings, so I was a bit wary of touching him in case I caught something. Okay, I gotta ask, are tracksuit bottoms a red flag on a date?
not that I've ever been in the situation of wearing them on a date, but
Are they a red flag? I feel like this is a thing that people shouldn't be wearing, even if they might want to, and it might be comfortable and convenient. I don't know. Maybe there's some missing context here. He wouldn't stop banging on about how these furries were creeping him out, and kept mentioning something about Paw Patrol. She was too distracted by the furries having a great time that she was just ignoring him ramble on about furries being bad. And he kept mentioning something about Paw Patrol. Yeah, dude, she's not listening to you. Look, I don't know if this actually happened or not. We'll get to answering if whether or not this is true, which I'm led to believe it isn't. The first review might have been. The follow-up reviews, like the replies here, might not be. I'd like to believe it's the case, but we gotta get through the rest of this review first. Either way, I soon ditched him and headed back for a wonderful night at the Hilton with a dog furry of some sort that smelt like Skittles. The date at Resorts World was a bit naff, but the furries offered me plenty of alcohol, and I got railed by a wolf, which made the trip more than worth it in the end. 10 out of 10, would visit again. Dude, a fursuiter totally stole that dude's girl. But hey, you know, at least she had a good evening in many different ways, so... How did this review evade me for so long? This happened like last year. I don't know how it has evaded me till just recently that this review exists. There's a chance that this last review didn't actually happen, but it just lines up so perfectly with the first one. So okay, one date was ruined while another was saved by furries.
we love to see that.
All in all, these two reviews, read one after another, are amazing. Now here's the thing that I think a lot of us are kind of thinking right now. Is the second review true? Did it actually happen? Because the first review that's there ranting about furries, rambling on about how they're a problem, a nuisance, that's typical. You'll see that a lot in reviews whenever there's like a convention happening, or like it just on the internet, people complaining about furries existing. It's happened many, many different times. But here we have a second POV of this follow-up from supposedly the other date. Is this actually the other date that left the review? Honestly, as much as I want to believe it, I don't think so. I think there's very much a possibility that this was just left as a meme reply to the original post to kind of offset it. And I did see one other where someone left a review of furries in the area that also seemed like it was clapping back at the original review from Thomas. And here's how the other review reads. 5 stars, amazed by furries. Me and a friend stopped by to get some food whilst we waited for our flight. There were a bunch of lovely dressed people in wonderful costumes. Apparently there was some convention going on nearby, and the mascots, they said they were furries, had stopped by to eat too. The staff were inviting, and whilst it was quite unusual, it definitely brought the mood to a new level. Definitely not something I've seen before, but also something I wouldn't mind being amongst again. And here's the point where I think it's a follow-up reply to the initial review. Maybe if you're the kind of dullard that is fearsome of novel experiences, then that kind of thing might scare you. But if you are like that, you're better off staying home in the first place. I, for one, loved the atmosphere it gave. So again, don't really know how replies work, but it just seems like it was a follow-up to the first angry review against furries. And that very well could have been the case for Audrey's review here, because the one thing to note is that both of those reviews had the same format and mentioning and layout. Like, it started off with the date, then mentioning that they went at the exact same time, not like an estimate, like 20 o'clock to 23 o'clock. Those were the times that both of them gave. They mentioned furries, they mentioned how the guy was complaining about furries and kept rambling on, and then the rest is whatever follows. So maybe from the perspective of some random person that saw this review and wanted to leave like a meme-worthy follow-up, they might have just followed the format of the initial review and then went with that from there. Because there's also the mentioning of the tracksuit bottoms in both, and then the Skittles somehow. I don't know. Like, it just seems to me that there's the potentiality that this is not a real review. Now, this is just a meme follow-up, and it says it's a pending review. There's no way for me to check, at least I don't think. At the very least, even if I can't really fact-check this and know for sure if any of these dates happen, and quite frankly, even the initial review from Thomas could very well be, dude, trust me, sort of thing.
That's what reviews are in some cases. There's no way to fact-check them.
But at the end of the day, even if some of these might not be believable, I still like to think that they could very well happen in real life. Maybe they already have happened. Maybe they're gonna happen in the future. I don't know. But I just know how people are to know that, yeah, this is a possibility. But the message to take from this is, you know, whether or not you're a fan of what other people are doing, if it's harmless and they're minding their own business, just respect that. You don't have to like furries. You can be creeped out by them. That's okay. But just respect that they're doing their own thing. So I wanted to go over this today just as a funny little review of how furries are seen and maybe how they clap back in some sense by just having the best time they can. So it's like, hey, you know, maybe the jokes write themselves here. Maybe the situation happened or didn't. I don't really know. I just thought it was really funny. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to let me know in the comments. I'm trying some other weird internet review stuff. So if you have anything like this and you want me to go over it, be sure to let me know or send it to me. I don't know. I'm just winging it on here. But that's about gonna do it for me. Thank you all for watching. Hope you have a good one. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one. Yeah, bye.